You don't hear engines first in Monaco. You notice the silence because no one is revving, no one is trying. And that's exactly what makes it feel unreal. You turn your head and there's a Ferrari. No crowd, no reaction. Take 2 steps, a Lamborghini like it's nothing, then something worth millions just sitting outside a cafe, like it belongs there. That's when it hits you, no one is showing off. Because here, showing off would actually look cheap. So they don't try, they don't need to. They just park and let the cars do everything. Because in Monaco, the louder you try to be, more out of place you look. And the people who truly belong, they never say a word. Their cars already did. The longer you stay on those streets, more confusing it becomes because nothing feels staged, nothing feels planned. And yet, everything looks unreal. Cars don't arrive with noise. They don't circle for attention. They don't wait to be seen. They just appear, park, and disappear into the background, like they were always meant to be there. That's the first thing that feels different. In most places, a supercar creates a scene. People gather. Phones come out. Everyone reacts. Here, nothing. You can walk past something worth more than a house, and no one even turns their head. Not because it's not impressive, but because it's normal. And that changes how everything feels. Because when something that rare becomes normal, it loses the need to prove itself. That's why the streets feel quiet, not empty, controlled. Every car you see carries presence, but none of them are fighting for it. A Ferrari doesn't need to stand out. A Lamborghini doesn't need to announce itself. They already belong. And that belonging creates a completely different kind of atmosphere. You start noticing the details instead. The way the cars are parked, perfectly aligned, never rushed. The way people step out calm, unbothered. No urgency. No one looks back at their car because they don't need to. They already know what they have. And that confidence shows not in what they do, but in what they don't do. No extra movement, no unnecessary attention. Just quiet control. That's when you realize something. In Monaco, attention isn't chased, it's assumed. And that changes the entire energy of the place. Because now, the cars aren't competing with each other. They are coexisting, side by side, Ferraris next to Bentleys, Lamborghinis parked beside Rolls-Royces. And somehow, none of them feel out of place because this isn't about standing out. It's about fitting into a level most people never reach. And once you see enough of it, your perspective shifts. What looked extreme before starts to feel expected. What felt rare starts to feel common. And that's where Monaco does something different. It resets your standard. Because now, you're not impressed by price anymore. You're noticing consistency, how often these cars appear, how casually they're treated. That's what makes it powerful. Because when something this rare becomes everyday, this tells you everything about the level you're in. And the people who belong here understand that perfectly. That's why they don't try. Trying would break the illusion. Trying would make it obvious. And obvious doesn't belong here. Everything is subtle, controlled, effortless. Even the loudest cars feel quiet in this environment. Not because they changed, but because the environment is stronger than the flex itself. And that's what makes Monaco different from everywhere else. It's not louder. It's not bigger. It's just higher. Higher in expectation. Higher in standard. Higher in what's considered normal. And once you step into that, you either adapt or you stand out for the wrong reasons. Because here, being too loud isn't impressive. It's a mistake. And the people who understand that don't need to prove anything. They just exist at that level and let everything around them speak for itself. Because in Monaco, silence says more than the noise ever could. And this is where it gets even more unsettling. Because once you get used to it, you start noticing something else. The cars don't stay. They rotate. One day, it's a Ferrari. Next day, it's something completely different, something rarer, something you didn't even see the day before. And that's when it hits you. This isn't a display. It's a cycle. Cars come in. Cars disappear. New ones take their place. And every time they do, standard moves again. Because what felt rare yesterday is already replaced today. That's what keeps the entire place elevated. There's no stagnation, no repetition, just constant movement. And the people behind it, they treat it like it's normal. No excitement, no reaction, because for them, it is. And that's what creates the real gap. Not the cars themselves, but the mindset around them. Because most people would stop, they'd hold on to what they have, they'd enjoy it. But here, holding on isn't the goal. Evolving is. That's why the cars keep changing, because staying the same means falling behind. And in Monaco, falling behind is immediate. You don't get time to adjust. You don't get time to catch up. The moment something newer appears, everything else shifts. And the people who understand this move before that happens. They upgrade early, they switch fast, they stay ahead, not to impress others, but to maintain their position. Because in this environment, position is everything. And position isn't fixed, it's earned again every single day. That's why even the rarest cars don't feel permanent, because nothing here is meant to last forever. Everything is temporary, except the level. The level stays high, always. And that's what keeps everything in place. Because no matter what changes, expectation doesn't. And once you realize that, you start seeing the bigger picture. This isn't about cars. It never was. It's about what the cars represent. Access, freedom. A life where limits don't exist the same way they do for everyone else. And that's why everything feels effortless. Because the effort happened long before the cars showed up. What you're seeing now is the result. The outcome of a level most people never reach. And that's why no one needs to show off. Because nothing here is trying to prove anything. It already has. And that's what makes it powerful. Not the noise, not the price, the silence, the understanding that everything here belongs. And once something belongs at that level, it doesn't need attention anymore. It commands it without asking. That's why even the most extreme cars feel controlled, because the environment around them is stronger than the flex itself. And that's what makes Monaco different. It doesn't compete with the rest of the world. It sits above it, operating by its own rules, where showing off looks weak and silence looks powerful. And once you see that clearly, everything else starts to feel exaggerated, because now you understand the difference between trying to look rich and actually being at a level where nothing needs to be said. And that's why the cars do all the talking, because the people don't have to. If you think Monaco is insane, wait until you see what happens when this level moves into private garages and hidden collections. Subscribe now, because the next level doesn't show itself, it hides.